Welcome to Camp Champ, a hands-on educational program designed to spread awareness about careers in manufacturing. Developed by Champion Now, the camp is the latest effort by the not-for-profit organization to change how American manufacturing is perceived in our nation. I'm Dennis Spaeth, the owner and publisher of Cutting Tool Engineering. Thanks to an invite from Terry Iverson, a 43-year machine tool veteran and founder of Champion Now, I'm here at East Leyden High School in Franklin Park, Illinois, to cover the inaugural Camp Champ event as part of the Leyden Student Summit. Of the 170 middle school students who signed up for the two-day summer career-oriented educational event, 30 have chosen to experience firsthand what it takes to make pens out of wood using a handful of tabletop machines developed by Iverson and Champion Now, specifically for Camp Champ events. The mobile machinery setup includes a tabletop lathe, a rotary indexer, a tabletop milling machine, an assembly station, a laser engraving machine, and finally an inspection system. Terry's son, Britt Iverson, who serves as executive director for Champion Now, coordinated the event with Lindsay Longstreth, an industrial technology teacher at West Leyden High School in neighboring Northlake, Illinois, and Amy Gorzinski, who runs the Leyden Student Summit and is a business education teacher at East Leyden High School. Over the next 40 minutes or so, you'll witness what it's like to shepherd 30 middle school students through a series of 6 stations as they learn what it takes to make a pen. You'll also hear from Terry, Lindsay, and 8 middle school students who agreed to talk about their Camp Champ experience on camera.
Show our hands, how many of you want to make a pen? Excellent. That's what we're going to do today. So we're going to put you in 6 stations. Each station plays a part in the manufacturing process of the pen. We're going to start off by giving you a really cool shirt. You can put it on right now if you'd like to.
That's connected to the nut, which also does what? It turns, and so the thread makes it.
Terry Iverson is the founder of Champion Now and came up with the Camp Champ concept with the tabletop machines. This was the debut of Camp Champ, and actually going through an idea that you had a few years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I had tried a normal machine tool machining camp, manufacturing camp with live full-blown machines down in Florida. And over time I thought, all right, this isn't really sustainable. And but I believed in taking the camp to where people needed it or wanted it. So then I got the idea of investing in tabletop machine tools. And then between that and our board of directors and Britt, my son, we came up with a concept which he named actually Camp Champ. And so, you know, this was a kickoff. IMEC sponsored us, backed us for a pilot program. And so this is Camp 1 of Camp Champ. And I think overall it was a great success.
It seemed like it went pretty smooth. What did you learn from the first one?
I think you can always do a better job at engaging young people. And the mentors, the older high school students were mentoring the younger elementary school students, which once again, that was my son Britt, his idea. But getting them engaged right from the get-go is always going to be a challenge. But both myself and everyone else involved have to be a little bit more creative in how we do that.
Well, one of the things that I picked up on from some of the students that came through, the lathe, the turning, the mill, but laser engraving, I think was the number one winner.
Sure.
And the idea that they got to make a pen. They all love the idea that they'd get to make a pen and see how something is made.
Well, I think we need in this country, we need to make manufacturing personal. And everyone needs to understand that the pen that they use to write something with, or sign a check, or even sign their name, do their homework, that was made. Everything we use on a daily basis is made. But yet we don't take time to stop and think about that. in terms of how it's made, who made it, how can I, have a career in making it. And so I think, we'll add some things to the camp. I was challenged with maybe adding a 3D printer. We just happened to be fortunate enough that this was local. We brought a digital inspection system, and so we'll have to learn as we go, but laser engraving someone's name on a product that they had a part in making, that's something that may last for the rest of your life and may impact decisions going forward as you get older, what course of study or what career you might choose.
I want to ask about the high school mentors, the ones who are at each station, kind of taking the middle schoolers through the operations. Impressed with their knowledge of the machines and what the process they were in charge of?
Yeah, the young people we had were either freshmen or sophomore. I think they were rising sophomore, I think is what Lindsay called them. And so they'd had Metals 1, but they hadn't been in Metals 2 quite yet. And so they had knowledge, they had a beginning knowledge, but I think even they learned something. And, not each station is as challenging as the other. Some of the assembly and some of the inspection and maybe the indexing and sanding and staining of the product. I think going forward I would rotate the mentors to different stations. And every mentor should be on the CNC mill or the CNC lathe, maybe even the laser. And if we get into 3D printing, then we'll be able to bring more value to them as well, instead of just one or two people or two or three people that were lucky enough to run certain machines.
I mentioned to a couple of the kids who were there that they thought it was really cool how the machines could just carve through that wood like it was nothing. And I mentioned to them that those machines could actually cut through metal like it's nothing as well if you have the right tools. And that made them stop and think. At least that was my impression of their reaction. So whatever has been done with this product, with the wood pens, the connection to metal cutting is something that may not be as obvious to the middle schoolers, but for the high school students that we're helping, they clearly got that.
Yeah, and we need to do a better job to assess, all right, how did we do? Frank and Lindsay and Amy were all unbelievably supportive and unbelievably excited about what we did and what they saw. But true to your point, we need to make the connection between wood and metal. And I can't say we did that very well this particular camp, but we need to do that better going forward. Now there's reasons why we choose wood, because the sawdust can be vacuumed and metal chips are way more complicated in terms of, and more expensive too. So yeah, and they can be dangerous, but if you use brass, you don't have to use coolant, but brass is very expensive. So we have to weigh cost, funding, value proposition of education and conveying a message and conveying concepts, and then constantly readjust. If I've ever tried to do anything in the Champion Now experience, and even in my career at Iverson and Company, is I've really tried to be adaptive and react and tweak as you learn. And this is my 43rd year in the business, and I'm still learning today. So I think all of us have to remind ourselves, even those that have been around a long time, that even your 44th year, there's still things you can learn, and hopefully you're adaptive enough and flexible enough to change going forward.
And you are going to be planning and scheduling more Camp Champs. I don't know that anything is in the works yet, but one of the ways you make these possible, you got sponsors to help fund, well, not just the shirts, but just getting everything out here and set up. You're still looking for that kind of support from the industry, are you not?
Yeah, you know, the vision, you know, a lot of the materials and mechanics of the machine tools, that was probably about $40,000 of my money put into the machine tools, the crates, the labor, and etc., just to get the first cell. So my vision, our vision, Champion Now's vision, is that one day that we could have a cell like this for each state, and that cell travels, that Camp Champ travels within each state. So ultimately there's two things. There's the ongoing sustainability of doing the camps themselves, but then there's the actual setup, just call it $50,000 for round numbers, that each state should have a Camp Champ residing within their boundary. And then something like this every year travels around all different towns, all different schools, and you have, and this was Britt's concept, you have a concept where you have the older young people mentoring the real young people. And so you have a sense of accomplishment, but you also have a sense of giving back and committing to being a mentor long term. And then the young people, you know, in a few years become those that are helping put the camp on, and the young people that did put the camp on actually get out into industry and come back and help the school that had Camp Champ, hopefully to do it all over again.
Any final thoughts about how it went?
I think it went really well. I think we kind of, IMEC sponsored 5 camps. This is the first. We learned quite a bit. I think in my estimation, we cherry picked a little bit. East Leyden's one of the greatest and best programs of their kind in the country, and certainly in the Midwest. So, you know, we took and selectively chose Leyden as it was a rush to get the first one done. We weren't quite ready, so we pushed it a little bit. But you have to learn each time, so we picked a place that the instructors, the faculty, the students all believed in this type of concept and were well versed in this type of item. So going forward, we have 4 more camps to do for IMEC in the state. Going forward, we have a ton of interest already, but funding is a big thing, and sustainability is a big thing. So we have to replicate another cell, and hopefully replicate another state in terms of interest. And then you know, each event should have their own sponsors, that people can have a nice shirt that really shows that they're giving back and that they're a leader in their given area. Yeah, there's about 10 different sponsors, and some are all over the country, some are local. If I name one, I better name them all. So I will. But you know, on the sleeves we have, of course, Cutting Tool Engineering, which you guys have been very gracious through all of this, and then of course Champion Now. And then, of course, each camp, IMEC, obviously, you know, sponsored the camp itself. And then above we have East Leyden, which we want to, you know, make it, you know, local to, you know, manufacturing localism is, I think, what the term that Britt coined, is that we need to engage shops and manufacturers that are in their community and make it local, because young people want to work close to home where they were raised most oftentimes. They want an education that's reasonably priced. That's part of what I write about a little bit, you know, with parents and students. They need to
Potentially dangerous.
understand that and realize that. But if you can make it local and get local shops and manufacturers involved with their local school, that is literally what our aim and what our goal is.
Guys, we're going to rotate. Go to your left. Go to your left.
Lindsay, can you tell us what your position is at West Leyden High School and how you got involved with this student summit here?
Sure. My name is Lindsay Longstreth, and I am the metals manufacturing teacher at West Leyden High School. I've been there since 2015 when they opened their manufacturing lab. Amy Gorzinski, who runs the Student Summit, is a teacher in the business department at Leiden, and she's run the Student Summit for about 8 years. And she's asked me for a few years to be involved, but I've never had anything that I felt would bring a lot of value to the students in terms of being more than an arts and crafts project.
Because this is Student Summit, and it's here at East Leiden, and all of your machinery is at West Leiden.
And I also don't feel as though my machinery is appropriate for a 6th grader to operate. So there's a big safety component in manufacturing that I'm not going to bring a 6th grader into my shop. So being able to participate in the Student Summit with Camp Champ was a really nice opportunity.
And the machinery we're talking about, it's the tabletop mill, the tabletop lathe,
Right.
and the popular one, the laser engraving machine.
Right.
So that made it a possibility for manufacturing machining having an element of the Student Summit.
Yes.
So when that opportunity came along this year, you guys jumped right at it?
Pretty much. Britt Iverson was asking if they could set up, or if I could help them set up an event at Leiden. And I said, well, summer's a little bit too fast, and I don't even know, maybe we can do it next school year. And he said, yeah, sure. And about a week later, Amy sent out the email to the district that said, by the way, the Student Summit is happening these days. Here's the registration form, and here's the information about it. And I was like, wait a second. I know about this. It's a hands-on interactive workshop for elementary, middle school students. This is a perfect thing for us to kind of piggyback on. And so I emailed Amy and said, if it's a no, that's okay, but what do you think? And she was like, absolutely, let's hook you in. So she was just very generous, letting us join her existing workshop.
And she actually extended this to a double session, is that right?
Yeah, so the Student Summit workshop, the students go to 45-minute sessions, and she was really generous and let Camp Champ be a double session so that the students were able to have a full experience.
When they added this to the program, how did the registration go for your first time out here?
Really well. So the Student Summit was already fully booked. I think all the spots have been filled. And then when Amy forwarded the information about the manufacturing workshop, parents immediately said, I can pull my kid from this, and students transferred and opted out of other workshops to try this manufacturing workshop. So we had 30 students overall between the 2 days.
Can you see doing this again, either on its own or part of the Student Summit again down the road?
I feel that it fits in really nicely to the existing Student Summit. You absolutely could run this at a Saturday camp. So I could see this Camp Champ very successfully being run as a Saturday activity, or even maybe an after school. But now that I've seen the time and effort and energy that goes into setting it up, running it, I actually think them being here for 2 days, they were able to, get to the right kind of student that's interested in it. We had a very comfortable length of time. I think plugging it into an existing event is better than doing it as a standalone. Part of your role here, not just being the adult leader in the room, but you have several of your students from your high school, sophomore, junior, I'm not sure senior, but who were helping at each of the stations. They were from your Metals 1 and Metals 2 classes? Yes.
How did you get them involved in this?
So we set this up before the end of the school year. So in May, I just talked to my students in person in class and in Metals and said, hey, we're doing Student Summit. You'd be here from this time. We'd give you volunteer hours. Would you like to come and help show middle school students about manufacturing? They could potentially take classes when they come to Leiden. And I had 6 kids jump right on it.
How did they do?
I think they did really well. I could tell they were a little nervous, a little shy at the beginning of the day yesterday, but they warmed up as the day went on. And then we kind of worked out a few little logistical kinks about how each station would run and rotate. We worked those out, and today they were on top of it. I think they did really, really well. I was very proud of them.
One of your students, Adriana. She was working the mill.
Yes.
Kind of, you were talking offline before about how you don't have too many girls going through your course. And she's going to be the first one to go to Metals 1 and Metals 2.
Yeah, I've been at West Leiden in that shop since 2015, and I've never had a girl articulate to a higher level. I've had plenty of girls come through my program, but none of them have decided they wanted to stick around. And Adriana will be a senior next year, and she's going to take Metals 2. So I'm really excited about that.
And she really seemed to like the mill.
Yes, yeah.
What was your reaction to the middle schoolers coming in here? And I mean, sure, there's some kind of daydreaming, I know, but what was your reaction to the ones who got really engaged in this?
I was a middle school teacher for 5 years, so I've worked with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in a hands-on STEM environment. I was a STEM teacher. I wasn't very surprised because I know that at that age they're just interested in everything. They're curious, they want to learn, and they want to do things hands-on, right? They don't want to be talked at, they want to engage. And this I felt was a very engaging workshop. And so if you have a student who thinks they want to even try a manufacturing workshop, those are the kids who are going to be more engaged, right? You might have a couple that might space out a little bit here and there. That's the nature of the beast, right? I was really impressed at how interested they were. They were high attention to detail. They listened really well. They wanted to do the activities. They didn't just want to come to a museum and press the button and do the repetitive task and not have anything in the outcome. They were invested in making this product and learning about these cool machines. So.
And they got to each make a pen of their own.
And they each got to make a pen. So that was really cool.
So your class, your course, Metals 1, Metals 2, that's focused on the different types of metals, or is it metal cutting? I mean, can you tell me a little bit about?
Yeah, it's a machining manufacturing class. So in Metals 1, students learn blueprint reading, they learn shop math, they learn precision instruments. They have calipers and micrometers. We have height gauges in my class. They learn how to take a blueprint. They get raw pieces of metal and they turn that raw piece of metal into the part on the blueprint. So they learn that process. We have manual machines, so we have manual mills and lathes in Metals 1, so it's all manual. They also learn like threading, drilling. They learn about the different basic tools, the difference between an end mill and a drill bit. And then Metals 2 is a CNC class, so they learn basic operations, setup and tooling setup and part setup and running programs we have Haas mills and lathes in my shop, so it's a CNC class. So they learn from the perspective of being an operator, and then the second semester they get to design custom projects. And then if they articulate, if they stay in the program, if they're not graduating, they can take Metals 3 as an independent study, and then they really can fly. They get to design whatever they want in that level.
So your students that were helping with each of these stations, they're familiar with the larger versions of these machines.
The students, the high school students that volunteered, yes, they are familiar with the industrial size versions of these machines, yes.
How about these machines? I mean, is this the size and the safety factor taken into consideration? This is a unique opportunity to not have to worry so much about the safety. The tabletop aspect of this makes it so mobile. I mean, is there any, do you think there could be a place for more of this access? Just, I'm trying to get to the idea that, you know, it's not easy to take your big shop and bring it to where an event is going to be. That's really expensive. That's scientists. Ask them that it's $250,000 just having a booth.
Yep.
So any thoughts about, Terry has put together these little carts.
Yeah.
He's got the tabletops, he's got his boxes, he's got this thing all set up so that if somebody is interested, they could come in, have this stuff shipped, and just open it up and go.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. The mobility of CNC equipment is clearly a barrier to access, right? So I do like what he's done and made it very accessible in a pretty small footprint, all things considered, with not a whole lot of effort. So, I could see middle schools having STEM fairs and having him come to a STEM fair. We have like a summer camp like we're doing here. I think maybe having it be a full class for a middle schooler might be a bit of a stretch, but I think this kind of snapshot of manufacturing it's about the right amount to bite off.
Dante, so I work for a magazine called Cutting Tool Engineering, and we cover the manufacturing industry, specifically shops that cut metal, okay? And so what I wanted to do is ask you about your experience today. So you want to just kind of give me your first impressions?
It was really nice. You got to see how the machines were worked, and it was just nice to see how they're made, and I like the part where you can build the pen.
So which machine, because you went to several different stations, was there one or two stations that you really liked or thought were the coolest?
I liked the one that checked the difference between each object and also...
So the measurement?
Yes,
the inspection,
and the wood carving one, because it was nice to see how the wood was made and how you got to sand it afterwards.
So that would have been like the milling machine, and then
Yes.
when you pulled it out, you could sand it down. And then was there, did you have any questions for any of the instructors from this camp?
Not really. They explained it really well. Also, the only thing I disliked is because since the time-wise, how I couldn't see the wood, like you know the machine that,
Yes,
Yeah.
the milling machine. You couldn't see
Yeah.
inside there.
like it being carved out.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you would have liked to have more time to see that.
Yes.
Okay. And what is your impression of manufacturing, and why were you interested in taking this as part of your Student Summit Day?
No, I just thought it would
some-
be nice.
Something drew you to this
Yeah.
manufacturing, so you just thought it would be cool.
Yeah.
Dante, you're what grade?
I'm going into 7th.
Have you thought about this as a career by any chance? You're young, but
I would like to work on it, but I'm not fully sure about which career path I want to go on.
how familiar were you with manufacturing prior to today?
All right. I didn't know much about it.
Okay. So was that, now that you know a little bit about it, what's your thoughts?
It seems like a cool job to have.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dante. I appreciate you talking to me.
You're welcome.
So first of all, just what's your first name for me?
Vince Bosch.
Vince. And what grade are you in?
I'm going into 6th.
6th grade. Mm-hmm. So why manufacturing? Why this part for the summit today? Why this particular segment of the program for you?
To teach us how to engineer stuff.
But do you have a specific interest in it yourself? Have you?
Like, I don't know, like crafting it.
And did you have much of an understanding
Yes.
of manufacturing and some of the machinery before today? You did. And is that because your family might be involved
No,
in
I've
it?
just seen it before.
Seen it. So where have you seen it? Just curious.
Like, I've seen it on like ads on YouTube or TikTok.
So you watch a lot of that machining.
No, it's just like ads that come up on TikTok and YouTube.
All right. And as you were going from station to station today, what were the one or two favorite or coolest parts of the process that you saw?
The ones like the one over there. Like where you.
The lathe. You couldn't see
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one where you make this thing,
So there's,
the plaque or whatever.
oh, that,
The-
okay. The laser?
Laser thing, yeah.
Laser etching machine.
Yeah.
Laser marking, okay. So, after going through this, has your understanding of manufacturing or what it might be like to have a career or a job someday in
It's
this?
pretty cool.
You think it's pretty cool? Would you recommend this type of a camp to your friends?
I mean, for something to do over the summer, yeah.
Well, is it, I mean, you're going to show off that pen that you have to everyone and tell them how it was made? Yeah? Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate you taking some time.
My name is Dominic Huerta,
And what school do you go to?
Road School, elementary school.
And you, what grade?
I'm going into sixth
Going
grade.
into sixth. So, I've been asking everybody this. Why did you decide to take this particular course for today's part of the Student Summit that you're doing?
I thought it was cool, like to have the wood and to make it go into a pen and how to function a pen. It's really cool.
So, did you know you were doing that before you got here today?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So, and that's why you signed up. Did you have any understanding of machining or manufacturing prior to what you learned today?
I don't think so.
And what did you think of all the stations you went to? What are your favorites?
My favorite was the laser one.
The laser one?
Yeah, where it made designs with a laser thing.
It marked it all up for you for the pen box, right? So, after going through this, what is your feeling about manufacturing as a potential career, if you've even thought that far ahead? But can you see yourself working as a career in doing any of these types of activities here?
Yeah, I think so.
What's your feeling about manufacturing in general? I mean, do you have a better understanding of it today?
Yeah, a really big understanding. Because
Isn't it kind of cool to find out how pens are made?
Yeah.
Not all pens, but these pens for sure, and other pens as well. Especially ones that are being made out of wood or maybe metal, because you could cut metal and make a pen out of that as well.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So you got your pen?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to share with anyone about your experience with the manufacturing side of this?
I just thought it was like really cool how you can shape wood into a design, and it could create a pen, the outside of a pen.
Did it surprise you how easily that machine can cut through wood?
Yeah.
Just like it's butter or something, huh? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool too. It does the same thing when they're cutting metal, believe it or not. Isn't that amazing? Well, thanks a lot. Hi, Noah.
Hi.
I just want to, thank you for doing this. I wanted to just ask you a few questions about your experience today and just kind of get your thoughts about what you learned today. What did you know about manufacturing before coming here today?
I know they use those like lasers to cut metal and to engrave metal.
And you kind of knew that from just your own kind of interest in that kind of stuff?
Yes.
What made you decide to sign up for the Camp Champ portion of the Student Summit?
Because I was interested in learning how pens are made.
So you wanted to see that, and what did you think about your experience today, going through from station to station?
It was very interesting and I learned a lot.
Any station that you liked the most, or one or two stations you really liked?
I really liked the station where we could wax and sand our pens.
Okay. And what about the milling or the turning, any of that?
Oh, and the laser.
Oh, you like the laser engraving? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And did you make a pen?
Yes.
Was it kind of fun to actually see something get made and have a hand in making it?
Yes.
So tell me, what do you think of machining as a job?
It would be a fun job
Be a fun job.
Yes.
And why? Why is that?
because you get to use different types of machines for like different stuff.
There's a lot of variety, and do you like working with your hands?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there one thing that you really liked about what you learned today more than anything else?
The lasers.
The lasers, okay. Very good. I appreciate you taking some time to talk with me. So Jacob, what school are you from?
I'm from North School.
And what grade are you going into?
I'm going into 6th, which I'll actually transfer to Hester when I go into 6th grade.
Okay. So what did you know about manufacturing and machining before today?
I didn't know much except for like things like laser cutters and some videos that I had watched like that.
Where did you watch those videos?
YouTube.
YouTube. And so laser cutting, those are kind of cool videos to watch.
Yeah.
So is that part of the reason you signed up for the Camp Champ portion of the Student Summit?
Yeah.
When you first saw it, did you switch to this, or were you signed up for something else and wanted to do this instead?
Well, we were signed up for like the summit thing, so we did miss 2 classes or 2 of their creative things for this, but this was definitely a lot funner.
Okay, cool. And of the stations, as you started going through the like 5-6 stations here, any one or two that really stand out for you that you really liked?
I really like the laser cutting station.
The engraving, yeah. And any particular reason why? Because the videos you were watching?
Yeah.
So, did you like making a pen? Was that something that you were really looking forward to today?
Yeah.
Did you make your own pen? Is that what you have in the box right now?
Yep.
So would you recommend something like this kind of a program to your friends?
Probably.
My name's David Samayoa.
Okay. And what school are you from?
I go to Hester Junior High.
And what grade?
I was in 7th and I'm going into 8th.
Okay. And so before today, how familiar were you with machining and manufacturing?
Well, I would say out of the machines we used today, I was most familiar with the laser cutter because at my school we have a laser cutter. So in the past, I've used it this Christmas, or last Christmas technically. I used it to make a puzzle for my mom as a present, and it was cool to make the design on my computer and then send it over and seeing it being cut.
That's great. And what was the material that you were cutting?
It was wood.
It was wood, okay. And when you saw that this Camp Champ was an option for one of the classes you signed up for with the Student Summit, what did you think?
I thought it seemed cool and how we'd actually get to make something that I could take home and use. It seemed like school won't be starting for a while, but I'm definitely going to keep this safe until school starts. That way I can use it.
Very good. And as you were going through the stations today, any particular machine or station that really kind of piqued your interest?
I like the one that's spun around this back part of the pen, and you get to wax it and sand it. I just liked it because I could see it being changing colors, especially with the wax. It was cool to watch it being changed before my eyes.
And that's from the wax that you were putting on the wood. Yeah, that's kind of the fun part of working with your hands and making things. career-wise, did you ever think about machining as a career, or ever think that machining or machine shops would be anything like this?
I guess the career I've been looking into is mechanical engineer. So I guess I use some machines that maybe use like the same type of formatting or works. And I feel like maybe I will use machines like this in that career if I decide to follow it.
Yeah. Well, you're putting a lot of thought into it, so that's really great. Thank you so much. If you want to show off your pen a little bit.
My pen. A cool thing about it is instead of pushing a button on the back, you spin it and then you come out with it. So instead of it being the normal way where you push it, you spin it, and that's cool. Also, there's not like a button on the side, because some pens have that, is you spin it. So I thought it was cool because I've never seen a pen like that.
And your name is?
I am Diego.
Diego. It was nice to meet you, Diego. So did you know much about machining, manufacturing before today's camp?
No, not really, but I like to listen to my older brother because he's done a lot of things similar to this. He usually likes to talk about it. He's very interested in it. He wants to be a mechanic, and he's always like messing around with machines. That's cool and stuff. So it's always been cool to listen to him.
Okay. And how much older is he?
He just graduated this year, so he's 17, but he turns 18 next month.
Okay. So you knew a little bit, and today you went through this. Anything really jump out at you that you really liked?
I liked how they could take like those little basically rectangular prisms of wood and just like change them into the actual pieces of the pen with the machines. And it's like you put in the code, you press a button, and there you go. And you could do like with a bunch of different types of wood and stuff, and it would all look different. So I found that pretty interesting.
For yourself, machining, is this, you probably never considered what you're going to do for a living or maybe as a job down the road, but could you see yourself doing something along these lines in a machine shop somewhere?
I've practically imagined myself doing basically everything, but since my brother is basically like going into this, I have thought about it a little more, and I could see myself doing some similar stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Diego. I appreciate it.
My name is Chad.
What school are you from?
I go to Hester Junior High.
Okay. And what grade are you?
I'm going into 7th.
And before today, did you have much understanding of what was involved when it comes to machining and manufacturing?
Very little.
Very little. Why did you decide to sign up for the Camp Champ portion of the Student Summit?
I was interested in learning how things were manufactured in like mass quantities, because most things that we use today are all manufactured in mass quantities, and to be able to see how they are made is a good experience, even if you don't major in this area.
Yeah. And any station that you liked the most out of all the rest?
I liked the laser cutting station the most because it was fun to see it engrave the design on the metal.
The metal, yeah. That seems to be a pretty popular one. So could you see yourself down the road if you wanted to get a job in a machining? Is that something that you think would interest you?
Possibly. All I know is that this was a good experience to get myself used to this area, so I know little about it, so for the next time I'm willing to take that step.
Okay. Before today, you probably didn't have much of any even understanding of what was involved with this sort of a job. If somebody even wanted to ask you about it, you wouldn't know what to say. But now that you've gone through this, somebody asks you what's involved with machining,
I can answer.
yeah, so that's pretty cool. So anything else that you had here that you're pretty happy to be able to make your own pen?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so it's got a satisfaction there. Well, thanks a lot.